These days, y'all, when it comes to how people listen to music, streaming is obviously the king of that shit, and it's caused artists to unnecessarily make long-ass albums. So when is enough enough? Let's talk about the shit. All right, y'all, let me just start this off by saying that I am a fan of the album. I love albums. Albums are the shit. I make albums, I review albums, I've always enjoyed albums. I like the presentation and product of what comes together as far as an album is concerned. I'm not the single type of dude. I like to listen to a project. I like to ingest that shit. And now these days, with people dropping so much music, with streaming services out, and your ability for anybody to drop any kind of music with no limitations, unlike before where you had physical platforms like tape and CD where you can only put so much onto a disc, we have artists coming out and dropping albums that are unnecessarily long, like feature film length. First, I want to talk about how the Migos did most recently. They dropped Culture 2, which I did not review because it's an hour and 45 minutes long, and I can't listen to the Migos for an hour and 45 minutes. I live in Atlanta, I like me some Migos here and there, but an hour and 45 minutes of the same shit, my brain would have imploded and I would have died right here at this goddamn desk and never be heard from again if I would have did that shit. And not only that, it's not the first time we've gotten an album that's super long. Chris Brown last year dropped a 2.5-hour album. He dropped the fucking Marvel movie of an album, and nobody can remember a single song from that shit except for that one that goes, wet, wet, or whatever the fuck it is. They still play that shit on the radio. But it seems that artists these days are just doing this because you get more revenue from streams with the more songs you got. It's a way to offset the fact that they're getting paid little to nothing off these streams. So the more songs you drop, the more streams you get, the more money you make. It's a simple business model, and I get it, but it also hinders the quality of the album or the project in question. Like I said, Migos' album, it's just a whole bunch of filler for the most part. I'm hearing people saying it's like way too many songs, too much shit. It should have been cut down to 14 instead of 24 songs, and I could agree with them. Like, I didn't have to listen to the shit. I only got a few songs into it, and it just seemed like the same repetitive, phoned-in bullshit that the Migos knew that they would get streams off of, so it's whatever. And just recently, Ray Shrimmer said they're about to drop their third album, I think Shrimp Life 3, and that's gonna be a triple disc album. Now, I think they're doing the triple disc because it's Shrimp Life 3, but also because streaming, motherfucker, they got hit songs, they're known to make hit songs, and if they can get a good hit out of that album, and then the stream's just gonna fall into place, they're gonna make a lot of money off that album because it's a triple disc. And maybe on the business side with the label, maybe if they do triple disc albums, they can, you know, fulfill their contract or renegotiate their contracts more often because now they can put out more content, more albums. It'll go more onto their label or their contract or whatever it is to make them get out of their contract or get a better deal. Whatever it is, I don't know. I'm not gonna get into the logistics. I don't know how it fucking works like that, but I do know the more songs you put on a goddamn album, the more streams you can get and the more money you can bring in. I think that's the core element with all this shit. But like I said, y'all, there's no reason an album needs to be over an hour long. Like, no reason. Like, only a small amount of people can do that, and I wouldn't mind. You have to be like Jay-Z, Nas, Outkast, them motherfuckers who've done like double albums or long albums, and even those albums weren't amazing. Well, I would say Outkast albums, Speaker Box of Love Below, but that don't count because there was like 2 solo albums put together. But the point is this, it's just saying that only specific types of artists can pull off this long ass double, triple album model because you have to have the content to fulfill all that time. If you're giving us the same shit, you're gonna get bored after 30, 45 minutes and shit. There's no reason anybody's album should be almost 2 hours long. Like, the sweet spot for me with an album is between 35 to 50 minutes. That's the good shit. That's where you can get a good quality album out of it. It's not too much, it's not too little, and you can still get your point across. I push it to an hour, but you gotta be giving me some great shit. Over an hour, you're really pushing it, goddammit. The only album that I can say off the top of my head that was over an hour, like closing into an hour and a half, that I really love, I have to say it's an old one too. Styles P's first album, Against It and a Gentleman. That shit was 24 tracks long. It was like an hour and 20 minutes, but that shit was amazing because he gave us so much in that album. You can't get us at that type of level from like Ray Shrimmer or Migos or anybody like that these days because they don't have that ability to give you those types of different vibes and styles and emotions and just content. They're known for one thing, and just for them to dump anything that they decide to go in the studio with and just throw it on the album to get streams out of it, it just shows poor lack of like quality and artistry, and I just don't like that shit. As an artist myself, I could never just say, oh fuck it, let me just make all these songs and throw them all on the album. because my name is gonna be on that album. Like, they must not care. Maybe the money's better than just your reputation and your name, I don't know. But if I'm gonna slap my name on some shit and put it out for the world to hear, I wanna make sure that it's the best I can give you, and I'm not just throwing bullshit to get a couple extra cents off a stream or whatever the fuck it is. But that's my thought on it, y'all. Let me know what y'all think of these long ass albums, or these people coming out with these long ass albums, clearly to do it for streaming sales and streaming revenue, not because they wanna put out a whole bunch of content and give us an amazing album, because we know that's not the case. And what do you think is the best like length for an album? I wanna know your sweet spot for an album, or how long you can listen to an album before you tap the fuck out and say, that's enough, goddamn it, just turn this shit off, I can't take no more. So let me know, give it a thumbs up, drop a comment, let's talk about the shit, you know what it is, and let's just see what's going on. I mean, hopefully this doesn't become a trend and all these big artists don't decide to drop like triple and quadruple albums and shit like that, like, cause it's just gonna be bad. Like, we don't need to hear all that shit. You can only hear so much of somebody at one time before you just get sick of the shit. But I mean, it's about that money, it's about that paper, that's all it is at the end of the day. But hey, I mean, fuck. Don't worry about me, y'all. I'm gonna make sure my shit is nice and tight and right, though. That's all it is. I'm out of here.